Okay, right. Hi guys, good evening. Can you let me know whether you all can hear me and see your screen? Yes. Okay, right. Nice. For some reason, do you all see like a what subtitle kind of thing going at the bottom? No? Yes. I got a pop-up that said someone had requested for a transcript, and I just clicked yes just to try how it is. But I don't think it will be there available for the other classes because I'm using a different account. Uh, what? Okay, right. So. mm Nice, it's okay. As long as it's not annoying someone, I think it's fine. Right. So today we need to go through the paper for unit number what? One. Yes, I know today's been a very a bad day with all the power cuts and all of that. Right. So I think that is why the crowd is less. And on my end, I'll see as soon as possible. I'll try to have the recording uploaded so that if anyone has missed anything because of a power cut, they can catch it up. According to my power cut schedule, my power is again supposed to go at around 7:40. I don't know. But we'll hope and see that we'll hope and pray that we should be able to get things started. Right. So even if it goes by 7:40, it'll come back by 9. So then maybe we can break this session into two parts, right? And we'll be able to do it. Right. Okay, guys, just want to check with you all. How many of you all did the paper? Yes, tried. There was a paper that in the PDF that I had sent you all. Did you all try the paper? How is the paper? Safe, manageable? The unit one, 20 MCQs, 3 essay questions. How is it? Safe? Right? Okay, nice. So most of you all have done. Some of you all have not, I feel. Okay, but that's all right, right? So make sure that with me that you go through the questions, right? And at the end of the day, the whole what, let's say the goal, right? The goal of it is to make sure that whether you don't know anything or not at the beginning, at the end of the day, if you know how to get the questions done, that's all that matters, right? So look at that also in the meantime, guys, if you have friends on the group, if these people have forgotten because I only informed 15 minutes before the class, right? In case these people have forgotten and still think that the class is at 7, right? Maybe you can give them a call and, remind them and tell them to come. Okay, right. So we'll not waste time because I think my power will again go at around, I don't know, 7:40, I'm assuming, right? So we'll directly get uh, into the unit and we'll get going. Yes, did you all try the past papers? No, we were a little lagging with the study plan because we couldn't do the class on Monday and we did it on Wednesday. How many of you have done all the unit one past papers, guys? The MCQs, the essay questions, done? Yes. So you're on track that by this Saturday that you will be able to, right? So whatever said and done, guys, by this Saturday, right? By this Saturday, try to finish off unit number one. You're done with the past papers, you're done with the papers, you're done with studying the unit. Okay, so somehow try to stick to that plan because from Sunday onwards, you'll be working with unit number two. And also for the people who have paid and registered, guys, I have couriered your tunes. Some people who are living close by, I sent it through a Uber, right? Close by to Mount Lavinia. Others, I actually handed it over to the courier. So probably you should get it. They said sometimes now because of the curfew, they don't also deliver. So I'm guessing probably they said sometimes you might get it on Saturday. If not, since Monday was a poor, I think they said you'll get it only on around Wednesday. Right. So we'll look into it and we'll figure out. Don't worry. I'll at least share the PDF with you all until then. Okay. Right. So we're done with the unit. We looked into all the theory parts, right? And the recording of this session, I have uploaded it to YouTube and I have shared it with you all. Okay. We've done all of this. So now we need to start off with, right? We need to start off with the paper for this. I made the paper a little hard than a normal this thing, but it's not hard at all, right? It's nothing out of the syllabus, right? It's nothing like that. So shall we start? Right. So I want all of you all to give me answers also, whether you all have done the paper, whether you have not done the paper, that's okay. Right. I want all of you all to give me answers, right? And let's get going. Okay, so we'll start off with question number one. Okay, this is in the PDF that I sent you guys in page number 19. There is a paper. That's the paper that we discussed. So, right, hold on, let me open the paper. Okay, starting off with this, right? Which of the following is social overhead capital, right? Do you want me to stop the subtitle? Okay, let me. How do I stop? Slide. Okay, I can hide the subtitle. Okay, what do you all go with, guys? Which of the following? Yes, do you all see a subtitle still? Yes, I know. I had an option that says hide subtitle. I hid it. So I can't see it, right? Can see or can't see? Can't see. Okay, some people are saying can, some people are saying can't. Okay. Okay, wait. Uh, my transcript. Disable. Okay, right. So I'm hoping that's not gonna worry much, right? Yeah, I think you can hide it by yourself. No, I think you should have an option that you can hide it, right? Okay, right, perfect. So in case it's worrying you, you hide it. Okay, so right, we'll start. Okay, right. So I have disabled it. Okay, so we'll start with question number 1. Which of the following is social overhead capital? Right. So we have agricultural land, we have factory and buildings, we have telecommunication networks, public roads, and surgery centers. What do you all think, guys? Social overhead capital. Which of this is social overhead capital? How do you, what do you talk about when you talk about social overhead capital? Right. So what is social overhead capital in the first place? Social overhead capital, guys, is the capital, right? Ideally, right? So if you now you all would have studied social overhead capital, you all would have studied. Hey, this is not social capital. This is social overhead capital, right? So social overhead capital, right? Remember, social overhead capital is capital, right? That is there to satisfy, right? Satisfy basic human needs, right? And then what is economic overhead capital? What is economic overhead capital? What is this? What is economic overhead capital? This is the exactly. This facilitates the production and distribution, right? It facilitates the production and distribution. So what do you get as examples for economic overhead capital? Guys, can you all give me examples for economic overhead capital? You can have factories, you can have roads, right? You can have highways, right? You can have you know what, yes, airports, all of that, right? So I tell you that what do you have as social overhead capital, guys? What can you give as examples? Satisfying basic human needs, our food, our health, our education, right? So for example, you can take things like schools, right? You can take hospitals, right? You can take drainage systems, right? That is, yes, water supply, right? Operation theaters, yes. So with that idea in mind, guys, what do you all think the answer is? Do you all want to reconsider your answer now? Which of the following is social overhead? Agricultural land, factories and buildings, telecommunication networks, public roads, and surgery centers. It's the fifth one. Yeah, that is what we call social overhead capital. Right. So social overhead capital is what again? What gives us satisfies a basic human need, guys. So a small thing, right? So something other than past papers. Fine. Is that okay? Are you all okay with social overhead? Yes. Then what is social capital? Social overhead capital is this. What is social capital? What is social capital? It's not the same. What is social capital? Hmm? What is social capital? Hmm? What is this? Exactly. This is like institutes, right? Institutions that promote, right? That promote, let's say that build social, let's say, interrelationships. Yeah. Now, for example, you all might have clubs and societies, right? You have Red Cross, you have, let's say Interact, Road Track, right? You have things like that. That is what you call social capital, guys. Those clubs, what do they try to do? They try to build on, they try to, what do they try to do in basic terms for you to, mm, right, how to work with someone else, because no matter how much you have learned, how much of degrees or A level results or whatever you have, If you can't work with someone, there is a problem. Yeah. So this social capital, right? That is what you call the institutions, right? That help to build the social interrelationship. That helps you to bond with different people, how to work with different people. Exactly. So what are the examples, right? So examples you can have, yes, sports clubs, right? You can have your past pupils associations, yes, just like you all have told. Yeah. So associations, you can have this, religious associations, yes. Okay. So volunteer groups, all of that. Yeah. So those are the examples. So that's that. Apart from that case, you have natural capital, you have human capital, you have then it's like this also, right? Now, what you need to understand is, right, certain types of capital can belong to 2 or 3 categories. That's perfectly all right. Now, for example, if you take a factory, right, or even a road, right, that will belong to even let's say highways or something, right? It can belong to fixed capital also, right? It can belong to economic overhead capital also. So that is perfectly fine, right? There is no rule saying that one example has to only belong to one category. There's nothing like that. Right? So it can match different categories. Right. So question 1, answer is number 5. Okay. So we'll move on to question number 2 now. Okay. Right. Question 2 says, when a economic, this is the easy one, so, right? Can you give me an answer before I read the question? See if you all can give me an answer. What can we give as an answer? Hmm? 5? Okay, most of you are saying 5. Okay, so what is this? When an economic produces on a point on the production possibility curve. Now, this is something that we have kind of discussed. There were similar questions in past papers also. What have I told you all, guys? If you're producing on the PPC, right? What can you say? What can you conclude on the PPC? Exactly. So if you're producing on the PPC, guys, right? So some resources are used in an economy. No, right? You can say that all the resources are used in economy. Not some, right? So it's wrong. Producing on the PPC is a feature for market economy. It's nothing like that. No? See, there's a nice number of participants in group I of exchange. There's a nice 69, but now it's 70. The resources are allocated according to the wants of the society. What is this, guys? Resources being allocated according to the wants of society is called what efficiency? Allocative efficiency. So allocative efficiency is a sense, right? So allocative efficiency, this is now they are seeing a producers on producers when an economic producers a point on the production possibility curve. But this is not this thing, no. This is only one point, right? Indicates increasing opportunity cost. Again, no, right? And then now you have kind of 2 answers. Like one answer is half correct, one answer is fully correct. Which one is the answer, guys? The 5th one, right? So this one, the 5th one here, right, indicates productive efficiency. So any point, right, any point on the production possibility curve indicates productive efficiency. So this is what your answer should be. Now, if you're arguing that the answer is 3, some people are saying the resource allocated according to one society. Allocative. So here, guys, then your question has to say specifically producers on a very specific point, right? Producers on one specific point, something like that. But here in general, they are saying producers on a point on the PPC. So then it can be producing any point on the PPC. Yeah. Yeah, so any point on the PPC. Now here they are not specifically saying, guys, a point where something like this. No, they're saying economy is producing producers when economy produces a point on the production possibility curve. It's a small grammatical error also. You can maybe rephrase this producers say on a point in the production possibility curve. So any point in the production possibility curve, guys, you can't conclude, you can't come to the conclusion saying it's allocative efficiency, guys. That is wrong there, right? So maybe if they have reworded the question, they have said, it produces at a point where the marginal cost equals marginal benefit, or they say something like that, then maybe you could have gone with allocative efficiency, but not for something like this, right? So here we go with answer number 5. Everyone okay? Say question 2 is answer 5. All right. Problem. No, so it's like this now. Again, now when you say on a point, right? Now, when you say, yes, guys, this class is for 22 people, 23 people, if you're there, it's okay. If you need one, you would have done, right? So, what? Now, when we say on a point, guys, it's on any point, right? It can be this point, it can be this point, it can be this point. Yeah. So you can't necessarily say it's allocative efficiency, right? So maybe if it says on a point where marginal cost equals marginal benefit, then you could have gone with answer number 3. Yeah. Okay. Then, okay, question number 3. Okay. This one. The problem of whom is to be produced, right? That is whom to produce in very simple terms, right? Is the problem related with the opportunity cost of production? Is the problem related to the distribution of absolute income? Is the problem related to the allocation of resources? Is the problem related to the efficiency of production? Is the problem of choosing among preference based on age structure? Okay, we'll go with the simple things. Here's this one. The problem related to allocation of resources. What do you think is this? This is the problem of what? Allocation of resources. This is what to produce, no? The problem related to what to produce. Okay. Then what? Yeah, what and in what quantity, right? Then maybe some sort of efficiency of production, or maybe if they talk about the production technique, then what is it? Production technique. Then it is about how to produce, right? So now in this question, we're talking about, right? We're talking about what? We're talking about whom to produce. Now, a few things that I can cut off, guys, right? Now, this how to produce, whom to produce, what to produce doesn't talk about an opportunity cost, guys. It's not a problem related to opportunity cost. Yes, that answer I will cut off, right? And then the 5th one is the problem of choosing among preference based on age structure. There's nothing like that, no, guys. Yeah, that's also cut off. Yeah, so obvious answers I cut off, right? So then relating to around, we have 3 options. Okay, now 3rd option is also cut because that is what to produce. What do you all think the answer is? Efficiency of production or the problem related to distribution of absolute income? Guys, remember in economics, right? We interchangeably use the word income and output. Have you all realized that in unit number 6, unit number 5, income, output, we interchangeably use that. Yeah. Why does that happen? I'll explain in unit number 5 or 6, right? That's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about here the problem related distribution of the absolute income or the absolute output, right? So real income, exactly the GDP of the country, the total output of the country, right? It's also equal to total income. So what is the problem of case? If you want, you can, if you think this line is confusing, whom is to be produced, so you can cut the is and me. Yeah. The problem of whom to produce, right, is about what? It's about, right, how you distribute your goods, no, right? Your total output, in other words, your total income in the country. Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we discussed this. No, high income earners are getting a high part, right? Small income earners are getting only a small part. Yeah. So thereby we end up with answer number 2. So far, all 3 correct. How many? All 3 correct. Yes. So 3rd one, answer number 2. Yep. Okay, nice. A lot of people have got 3 out of 3. Nice. We'll see how we go. We'll see if there's anyone with 20 out of 20. Okay. Actually, if there's anyone out of 20 or 20, right, I'll give you all some. Here. I'm hoping there is not more than 1. Okay. Right. Okay. Starting with question number 4. Okay. Okay. When there is economic efficiency, right, prices of all the goods in the economy are equal to what? Prices are equal to the minimum level of average cost of all the goods, the economic cost of all the products, 0, the marginal cost of all the products, the minimum average variable cost of all the products. What is price equal to, guys? Yes, when there is economic efficiency, what are the 2 conditions? One, productive efficiency. Number two, allocating. Then which one of these talks about prices, guys? Where is the condition of prices? Where do you have a condition of prices in productive or allocative? In allocative, right? What's the condition? What's your condition? Price equals marginal cost. So when your price is equal to your marginal cost, we say that you have achieved allocative efficiency. So which one in this answer talks about marginal cost? Answer number 4. Yeah, that's an easy one. Okay. So keywords, guys, pick these keywords. The moment you pick these keywords, you should be able to get it. So most of you are giving me 4, guys. If anyone has any doubts about why not this one, please ask. Okay, right? Because I look at the answers that people give. If almost 95% are giving the same answer, then I don't go to explain the other option. Okay, right. Then we move on to question 5. Okay, nice. Think again. Now this is at least the basics. Normative and positive. Okay, which of the following statements can be considered as a normative statement? Give me an answer. Normative. There are 2 answers. Which one? Okay, most of you are saying 3. Okay, let's see. Okay, answer. We'll go with 1. Right. The prices of crude oil in the world market have been decreased. What do you think that statement is? Positive or normative, guys? Prices have been decreasing. Now, can we prove this? We can prove, right? We can say, okay, maybe it is decreasing, maybe it is increasing. We can prove and see, right? We can look at the past numbers. We can prove and see. So it's a positive statement. Yeah. It's unfair that oil prices increase since it is a necessity, very relevant to today's condition. Now, some people are saying unfair. Government is saying, look here, right? We are making losses, right? So maybe no, it's okay. This is a normative statement. This is unfair. This is like personal judgment, subjective. Exactly, right? That's a normative statement. Done. Then, in the future, there can be a decline in the prices of crude oil. Okay, and then they say, okay, we'll leave that for now. And it has been confirmed that increasing crude oil cut is here. Increasing crude oil prices have caused a cost push inflation. Now, this also is a positive statement. Now, you'll be smart, right? Now, this is also a positive statement. Now, right? Now, say the third one, you're not very sure. See now, you're not very sure, right? So, yes, that is confirmed. So, it's proven already. It's a positive statement. Now, here, right? Now, this one, here, there can be. Now, see, it has been confirmed now. It's already a positive statement. Now, for sure, it's correct, right? So, it has been confirmed. Now, this one. Now, here, now, let's say, now, right, cost push inflation, I'll come, guys. That's in unit number 7, though, right? I'll come into that in a while, right? Okay, listen again, okay? Those who are little stuck. Now, first and second, you're sure that is okay. First one is positive, second one is normative, you're fine, right? Now your doubt is between C and D now, right? Is it B and C or is it B and D now? Right, that's your question. So now, like, you have to be very smart also when you're answering MCQs. Look at the 2 questions, look at the 2 options. One says, in the future, there can be a decline, right? There can be a decline in the price of crude oil, right? Maybe there can be, maybe there cannot be, right? So on this case, yeah. Now this one, guys. Now if you look at the 2, now see, I've been very careful. I have not used the word, should and all of it, because when the when I use the word should, you all know now the moment the word should is that this is the normative state, right? So rather than doing that, I'm trying to confuse you a little here, right? There can be a decline in the price of crude oil, and then he says it has been confirmed. Now see, it has been confirmed means that it's something that is already confirmed, right? There is no debate about that. No? You can't say now it can be correct, it can't be correct. Can you say that for D? Normative means it may be this way, maybe that way. Yeah. Now for D, can you say it might happen this way, it might happen that way? No, because I'm directly saying it has been confirmed. Yeah, it's already proven now. That means it's a positive statement. So then you end up with answer number 3. Right? So in the future, there can be a decline. There can be a decline. There can be other way. Right? So right now you have no way of proving it, no? Right? There can be an example. Fellow is coming and saying, I am saying maybe in the future, this fellow, I will say in the future, maybe let's say Ranil Wickremesinghe will become the president. Right? Normative, right? Can I prove that now? Can I say in the future for sure this guy is going to be not president, let's say prime minister? There is a talk about that. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. Anyone knows? I'm not very into politics, but I saw a lot of memes and a lot of things going on about his voting. Yeah, really? I don't know. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I just saw talks about it is going. Really? He was appointed. When? Today? Yeah, I was very outdated then. It's a while before. Okay, a while before I was in the what? Gas polymer. That's why I would have not been very updated. Okay, right. Yes, I got the gas, guys. Luckily, I think I went right on time. I was like having a small napkin listing, and then my mother woke me and someone, to go here. I carried the gas train that went, and then what? I think like 10 people after me, gas finished. And so I was around in 1 hour. I was waiting. I was replying to all the messages. People who have paid for the fast track and sent me the slip. I was replying to them, and I was waiting there. So yeah, okay. So then, guys, back to my point, right? I'm from Mount Lavinia, but I got gas from Ratnalana. Okay, so this one is the normative statement. Okay, so then we end up with B and B as the answer. Shape, guys, fine. Okay, so there is a message that you can read it. So that's right. Nice. I don't know what is Ranil going to do, but I don't think he is the solution also, right? I don't think he can change anything. Okay, right. So we'll go into the next question. Yes, no, he has been appointed. No, I think a few minutes ago. Okay, right. Question number 6. Okay. Which of the following accurately explain an output combination shown by a point outside a production possibility bound? Now, the only thing that you all know is one thing. You all know outside the PPC is this one. You all know. What are the other things, guys? A point outside the PPC shown by a point outside. Scarcity of resources, is it outside the PPC? Yes or no? Yes, no. Scarcity is outside. That is okay. Fine. Done. An attainable output combination under the currently available technology, is that outside the PPC? Attainable combination. No. Attainable combination should be inside the guys. It can't be outside. Yeah. So that is also gone. Okay. A level of consumption that shows the gains from exchange due to international trade. Yes. Outside the PPC. International trade, for those who have learned, guys, I'm hoping you're in school and class, you would have done unit number 9. International trade. Because of international trade, can you consume outside the PPC? Can you consume outside the PPC after international trade? Yes or no? You can. Yeah. Remember, you all we talk about something called a consumption possibility curve. You all remember? There is something called a PPC like this. And then after international trade, you all have a new curve called a CPC, consumption possibility curve, where you can consume outside your PPC now. Yeah, because this black line is your PPC. You can consume outside your PPC. So a level of company that shows gains from exchange due to international trade. Because of international trade, because of your exchange, gains of exchange, you can consume outside the PPC. That is a point outside the PPC. That's correct. That's a little bit of unit number 9 also, right? So I'm combining all of that. What's the point of making the question easy, no? Right. An output combination that can be attained after removing economic embargoes. What is an economic embargo? Okay, so for those wondering now, this thing right now, come on. Now here, even this D part here is a little what? Mm, that should be the thing, right? So what it's like this, right? Now, listen carefully about the economic embargo story, right? For those who don't, okay. Now, for example, right? Yes, it's like sanctions, right? Now, okay, these days, let's say Russia and Ukraine, right? Now, what are they doing? They're going for war, okay. So I don't know who is wrong and who is correct here, but let's assume, right? Because Russia and Ukraine war, let's say Russia is the party who is wrong, right? Let's say Russia is the party who is wrong. So this is their PPC, right? This is their PPC, right? Now, because Russia is wrong, but Russia is a big country also, they are keeping on, let's say, firing and bombing and doing all of this to Ukraine, right? So what does the UN come and do? The United Nations, right? They say, look here, right? If you're not going to stop the war, we're going to impose sanctions on you. We're going to put an economic embargo on you, right? So what happens when there is economic embargo? When there is an economic embargo, right? What happens is, right? If they restrict the country, right, from any international trade. So any goods can't go into that country. No one will buy anything from Russia, right? Things like that will happen. Yeah, so no imports and exports, exactly in simple terms, right? So then, guys, if a country now imagine, right, if they do that to Sri Lanka, right? 1 week, our whole country is collapsed. Where is the petrol coming from? Where is the diesel going to come from? Where is the electricity going to come from? Yeah. So everything is going to collapse. The moment they put an economic embargo, it's going to collapse. So what happens, guys? When there is an economic embargo, what happens to the PPC now? Think your international trade has gone down, or you don't have fuel, you don't have anything. What happens? Your PPC. PPC will exactly shift inwards, guys, right? So it will shift inwards because come on now, if you don't have the petrol, you don't have the diesel, right? Now your resources have decreased, no? Your capital, your everything has decreased, right? So now look at the answer D here. They are saying an output combination. So currently, let's say, right? Currently, let's say Russia is with the economic embargo. So their PPC is here now. Huh? Now currently they have put an embargo now, right? Because Russia is a bad guy, right? They have put an embargo. So now they are removing this embargo. Yeah. So now forget about this. Now this curve is not there, right? Oops. Okay. Okay. Like that. Okay. So now that curve is not there. Now they're removing the embargo, guys. So when they remove, now let's say there is a point outside the PPC. Let's say somewhere around here, right? If they remove that embargo, do you think that you can go and reach that point? Yes. If this embargo was removed now earlier because they were doing bad stuff, they put an embargo. Now they're removing that embargo. So the moment you remove this embargo, now you can, right? Now you can exactly you can enter, but you can maybe engage in international trade. You can now buy your stuff. So as a result, then this combination will be attained. So what? Which of the following accurately explain the output combination outside? So yes, this could also be one of your answer. Understood, guys? That could also be a point outside the PPC, right? Output combination that can be attained after removing a economic embargo. So if you remove the economic embargo, you can definitely go and reach a point outside because now international trade and everything comes into play. Understood, guys? Guys, these are a little complex, right? Because I don't want to do very easy questions because there is no point, right? There is no point of doing past papers or doing very easy questions. That's why I make it a little bit of a tricky paper. Yeah, safe. I also can make a very easy paper, but that isn't too good for any of yours. Okay. So then we already have an answer, right? Then inflationary gap that exists. Inflationary gap, not really. We don't represent using a PPC though, right? So not that really, right? So you don't really. You can say yes. Inflation gap is where you produce above your potential and all of it, right? But still, we don't go into a PPC. Maybe to some extent, right? To some extent, you can argue it's a point outside the PPC, right? That is because where you can say when the what actual output is greater than the potential output. But we don't go into showing these gaps in really a PPC. But to some extent, I would say it's half correct. It's okay, right? But you have a better answer. D is a better answer. Okay. So guys, always remember this now. Now, do you know what? Do you know this thing? Do you know? Did you see in the 2020 A-level paper, right? After the paper, a lot of people were arguing there are two correct answers for one thing, right? There were at least around 3-4 questions like that. You know that story, no? There was at least, there were some answers, like there were some questions. There is no correct, no, there is no 100% correct answer, right? There were some answers, maybe there are like two very close answers. Yeah, there were things like that, right? So I'll show you this, right? See this. Okay, this is why you all also have to be very prepared for this. I'll show you. I can't remember the question numbers now. When we maybe discuss, I will show you all. Okay. Okay. Here, this is the 2020 paper, right? This is something that people always forget, right? See, your instructions. Do you ever read your instructions at the start of the paper? No. You get the paper, you start doing the paper. See, right? Look at this. Select, right, the correct or the most appropriate answer. This is your 2021 paper, people who did it on paper. So there were some MCQs that doesn't have 100% correct answer. Yeah. But that does not mean they're going to give you a free mark, right? You can't come and say, no, sir, there was no but correct answer for this, so free mark, no, I put anything. No, right? You can't come and say, sir, there were two answers that look correct, so both answers they should give marks. No, they're not going to do that, right? They're going to give you marks only, right? Maybe if there is a correct one, definitely yes. Or else, if there is no correct answer, or if there's maybe more than one correct answer, for the most correct answer, for the most appropriate answer. So please have that in mind. Anyone realize that? No? Did any other teacher show you that? Did not realize? This part, most appropriate. Please be mindful, right? So don't come and say that there was no correct answer, there is nothing, right? So we'll train for that, right? So there is no excuse, right? So fast track questions also, some of that will be like that. There might be questions, right, where you might not have a fully correct answer at times, right? Maybe arguable. So always go for the most correct one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm probably sure that is the same thing that will happen in your 2022 paper also. So in this paper, there were around 3 to 4 MCQs like that. There are no one proper correct answer where there was around, sometimes no answer at all, sometimes there was around 2. Okay. Right. What time is the class be over? That I don't know, but the moment I finish this paper, the class will be over. Okay, so in that context, guys, now we have A, we have C, and we have D. Output combination with zero opportunity cost. Maybe you can show this as unemployment, right? Now, a point inside the PPC is a point without opportunity cost. Then, when there is unemployment, when resources are unemployed, right? It's inside the PPC. So maybe you can show that has zero opportunity. So you end up with the answer A, C, and D, guys. Fixed answer number 2. Step. Fine, everyone. Okay. Yes, I all lost. I all confused. I feel a little bad also. Step, no? All good? Without a paper knowledge, yes, proper knowledge. Unit number 9, can we take the fourth one as our answer? A, D, E. Not really, but now in this context, guys, because they will ask you to, when you're doing your A-level paper, guys, you are what? Zero opportunity cost? No, not outside the PPC. You can't show that outside the PPC. Usually, we say zero opportunity cost. What are situations when resources were unemployed, when there was only single use, or when you had, let's say, unlimited resources? So it's not really outside the PPC. Maybe you can take the unemployed part and you can put it inside the PPC, not outside. Okay. Ideally, it has to be A, C, and D. And remember, guys, now this is from international trade. This C is from international trade. So you kind of have to know your other units also. Okay, right. So with that being said, we'll move on to our. Okay, the inflationary gap is where you're producing more than your potential output. We'll talk about that that comes in unit number 6, guys. Yeah? So in case I skip a few parts, don't worry, because that's there in the future. This inflation gap is there in the future unit, right? This international trade part is there in unit number 9. So don't worry, okay? Done. Okay, then we go to question number 7. The graph below shows how the output combination of an economy changes along a production possibility front. What's the reason for the output combination to change from point A to point B? Why do you all think? Sixth one, guys, the answer is 2. What do you think the answer is, guys? From point A to point B. Now, ideally, what is happening? At point A, resources were unemployed. There were unemployed resources. But now, for some reason, that unemployment has fallen. So now we are using more of our resources. What do you think would have been the reason? Earlier, we were using only this much, but now we are using more. We are producing more now. Why? Expansion of aggregate demand in the economy. Destruction of capital resources due to the restarting of a war. Investment withdrawals from foreign investors, decrease on net imports, decrease in the demand for exports due to economic embargoes. What do you think? Okay, we'll cut off a few ones. Okay, a destruction of capital resources, guys. Can you tell what happens? Because of a war, now a war has started again. Capital resources are getting destroyed. What happens? PPC shifts inwards, no? Shifts inwards. Now, when war and capital getting destroyed, PPC shifts inwards. That, right? Guys, if investments get withdrawn from the country, okay, think this. Always think of the normal scenario. If Sri Lanka gets foreign direct investments, what happens to the PPs? If Sri Lanka gets foreign direct investments, Sri Lanka gets, then the PPC shifts outwards, no? Yeah. Now, if these same investments are withdrawn, they take that money back and go. Now, what happens? Exactly. So think that way, guys. Yeah. So here PPC shifts inwards. Okay. Done. Then a decrease in net imports. Guys, if your imports and stuff decrease, what do you think happens? Now, this kind of your international trade thing. Yeah. If the amount of goods that you import kind of decrease, what do you think will happen if there's a decrease in the imports? Your imports. Okay, now think that you're okay. Always think the opposite of this. Forget about the decrease. Let's say, okay, now I'll give you a situation where I say Sri Lanka imports new machines, right? What happens to the PPC? Sri Lanka imports new machines from Japan, no, whatever. What happens to the PPC now? Shifts outwards, right? Then when there is a decrease in these imports, now what happens? Exactly, it can shift inwards. You can say that the capital is decreasing, no? Right? The machines that are coming is decreasing. The fuel, right? The capital is decreasing. So our production possibility will go down. So you can argue that the PPC shifts inwards. So always think of the opposite way, guys. If it's very hard for you to think of this, think of the opposite and see what is going to happen. Okay. And then think of this: a decrease in demand for exports due to economic embargoes, right? Now, we are producing and we are exporting, right? But our demand for our exports have fallen. Because when demand falls, what happens? When demand falls, what can you say? What happens to the production? Think, correct. Demand falls, exactly. A recession happens, right? So when demand falls, production falls, right? Come on now. If no one is buying our exports, now we won't produce much. So when our production falls, what happens, guys? What happens to unemployment? What happens to unemployment? Unemployment increases. So when unemployment increases, how do you show that in a PPC? It's a point. Do we shift it inward? No, right? Unemployment increasing is not a shift, no. Point inside, no. A point moving inside, right? So now, if you look at all of this now, our question here is what? A point moving outside. So why do you think the point is moving outside? Answer number one. Expansion in the aggregate demand. So if our aggregate demand increases, right, now people want to buy more and more goods. So people wanting to buy more and more goods, what happens? Firms are now trying to employ people. They're buying new machines. They're making new stuff, and they're increasing their production. So our unemployment decreases exactly. Yeah. How can we consider it? No. So guys, remember the whole point of a recession. This is like the opposite of a recession. No? What happens in a recession? In a recession, aggregate demand falls. No, people don't spend. No, now because of COVID-19, we said there was a recession. But what was the case? People don't spend. Aggregate demand falls. As a result, what happened? Firms produce less. So now there is unemployment. TP is shifting inward. Yeah. It's think of a recession story. What happens in a recession? In a recession, right? Now, because of COVID-19, we said there was a recession, right? What is happening in a recession? People don't spend, right? People don't spend, right? So, meaning aggregate demand has decreased. So, when aggregate demand has decreased, what do firms do? Firms produce less now, right? Because people are not getting this. Firms produce less in the sense they fire people now. No, you don't need the same amount of people to produce a small quantity. So they get rid of people, right? Machines are just kept now. People are laid off their jobs. Yeah. So then unemployment increases. Unemployment increases. So meaning your point moves inside in the PPC. Yeah. So same thing, the opposite here now, right? So here what is happening in our answer number one, what is happening is the opposite. Aggregate demand is increasing. So when aggregate demand increases, now the firms are producing more. Yeah, firms will produce more now because a lot of people are willing to buy. So firms are producing more in the sense, now what happens? They're hiring new people, they're getting new machines. So the amount of unemployed resources go down. It's a point. Okay. Step 7 is question number 1. Sorry, question number 7 is answer number 1. Fine. So far so good. Nice, interesting question. Okay. Okay, we'll move to question 8. Okay, which would be the reason to argue that a social market economic system, right, is better than a capitalist market economic system? What? A social market, I taught you all this yesterday. I said Sri Lanka is a social market economy. What did I say? I told you that, right? Yesterday, Sri Lanka is a social market economy. I remember I told you it's like a very close to market economy. Government intervenes for a certain reason. For what is the reason? Exactly. Social market economy is very similar to a market economy, right? Very similar to a market economy, but government intervenes for what? Intervenes to promote. This is not socialist, this is social market. Yeah. So to promote social justice. So social justice means what? If if there is any what economic what human rights being violated, government will come and do that. Then I said a government gives social protection, yeah, pensions, right, samurdi benefits, then different subsidies for the farmers, yeah. So what is that called? Those are all government gives social protections, no? Social protection, that's also called social safety network in the form of pensions, right? Samurdi benefits. That's the story, right? Just small things that I'm questioning you on. Huh? Samurdi benefits. Okay, so if that is the case, what can you say, guys? What do you think the answer is? Promotion of economic freedom, implementation of broad social safety network, maximum efficiency of resource allocation, maximizing economic stability, non-existence of economic disparity. The answer is number 2. Yeah. maybe it could have been answer number 5 if, right? Now, you can't say that there is, now, they're asking why is social market economy better than capitalism? Now, do you think in a social market economy that economic disparity is non-existent? No, no. Maybe if it says minimize economic disparity, fine. Now, can you say in Sri Lanka that there is no economic disparity, that there is no rich and poor? No, this non-existent word makes it wrong, guys. Maybe if it said minimize economic disparity, I would give you marks for 5 holes. Yeah, understood? No? Because I got a lot of answers that said 5 holes. Yeah. Yeah, you can't say there is no economic disparity, guys, in Sri Lanka. There is, right? So you can't say non-existent. Okay, so maximizing economic stability, not, you don't have a social market just to maximize economic stability, not to maximize resource allocation, not to promote economic freedom. It's mainly because of this, right? So maximum efficiency is, now they're asking you why is social market better than a capitalist market, right? So yes, economic disparity means like the income disparity, the disparity between the rich and the poor. Yeah. Now there are really rich people, really poor people. You can't say in Sri Lanka you don't have non-existence of that. Maybe because the government is coming, it's minimizing because government is taking taxes from the rich people, giving it to the poor people as subsidies, pensions, some will be benefits. Yeah. So they're minimizing it, but it's not non-existent. Okay. So we end up with answer number. Yes, every question is a little tricky. So that's the whole point of the fast track. Okay, fine. Question 8, answer number 2. Step. Good. All right. Okay. So then we go to question 9. Okay. If the cost of mobile phones fall, right? If the cost of a mobile phone falls by a large amount, you have an incentive to do what? Take a shorter version, buy a new mobile phone, use father's mobile rather than buying a new mobile phone, avoid buying a new phone because it is less valuable, wait until the cost rise to buy a new mobile. Okay, what is the incentive function? Price plays an incentive function. Remember the functions of price. Functions of price. One function is what? One signaling, rationing, and one function is incentive function, right? What did I say under the incentive function? Right? So when the price goes down, it provides an incentive for the consumer, right? Incentive for the consumer to buy more, no? Incentive for the consumer to buy more. Then if the price goes up, it's an incentive. Okay. It demotivates this thing, fine. But it's the incentive for whom then? The incentive for the producer. To produce. Yeah. So that's the incentive function, right? So, and in the same way, if the price goes down, it's disincentive for the supplier. Price goes up, disincentive for the consumer. So what do you all think here? When the price of a mobile phone falls by a large amount, it's gone down. So it's an incentive to buy more, guys. Right? Now, come on. Okay, some of you all told me fool also. Now, just because the price of mobile phone go down, guys, do you think in a market economy that you're not going to buy a phone because it's less valuable? A phone is not something that you buy for the listening. A phone is for your telecommunication these needs, right? So you're going to still buy it. Okay, so 9 is 2. Do you think if the iPhone 13 they give you at 50,000 now, you're saying no, now you I'm not going to buy it? No, everyone's in the, just like in the gas polymer, there'll be iPhone 13 polymer. Yeah. Okay, that's question number 9. Done. Okay. Yes, that was a little easy. Agree. Okay. Okay, these are also easy one. When China builds the roads using few machines and a great deal of labor, it is answering the. This is an easy one. Still disappointed in myself. How to produce, what to produce, when to produce, whom to produce, where to produce. Answering which question? Okay. They're answering the how to produce question, no? So that's how to produce, no? They're using, labor intensive or capital intensive. So they're using few machines, great deal of labor, a lot of labor. So they're using labor intensive. So these production techniques are answering what question? Answering the question of how to produce. Yeah, so that's number 10. So we are halfway there. halfway there. 10 out of 10? Anyone? Guys, 1, 10. Anyone else? 10, 10, 10. 10 out of 10. So far, there's only 1 10 numbers. There's a lot of 9. No one else? 10 out of 10? Okay, there's another hand raised on the chat box. I'm assuming that's also 10. Okay, there is 3. Others also are okay, at least 5, 6. Shape, no? Not worse than that. Okay, there's 4, 10 out of 10. Nice. Okay, nice. Safe to not that you're struggling, no, fine. Okay. Check this. As long as you all now have understood the story, as long as you can get it right now, don't worry. Okay, don't feel bad about it. These questions are a little harder than your normal A-level question also. Now, so you look at your A-level paper, guys. I'll just feel good factor. Yeah. So, feel good factor, guys. You have very easy ones here. Why is PPC linear? Because of constant opportunity cost, right? Then you have, question number 1. There is not much question here, right? So what is the definition of economics? Yeah, so you will get easy ones. Don't worry, right? So that is why you do the fast track, and then at the end, your paper will be very easy. So don't worry about getting a little low in this. It's all right, right? So even in the mock exams, fast track mock exams, even if you can score 60, you can get an A for A levels, right? So don't worry. Yeah, right. Hold on. Right. So we'll go to question number 11. I have a bad feeling about my current going, guys. In case my power goes, I think power goes for 1 hour and 20 minutes. What? I think it goes at 7:40. The schedule's at 7:40. We'll hope and see, right? Okay. Right. Okay. If the economy moves from producing 10 units of C and 4 units of D to produce 7 units of C and 5 units of D. Today is 1 hour and 40 minutes, not 20. Yeah. The before one was 320 or 340? Okay, it was 320, no? Okay. The opportunity cost of the 5th unit of D is okay now. We'll put this into this thing. What do you think the answer is? Okay, give in your answers also. What's happening here now? C and D and everything is confusing us. So there are 2 goods, right? So coconut. So we'll say C is coconut. Okay. C is coconut and let's say D is donut. Okay. So economy moves from producing 10 units of C. They've been producing 10 units of C, right? And 4 units of D. Let's say they were producing at this point. To produce 7 units of C. Right? So now they're producing only 7. And 5 units of, let's say something like this. This is the PPC. Slide. Okay. So you have 10 and 4. They were producing 10 and 4. Now they're producing 7 and 5. Right? 7 and 5. Remember I told you guys last class how to read opportunity cost when you're moving from one point to another point. So you were at point A. Now you're going to point B, right? So you are producing 7 and 4. Now you're producing, 10 and 4. Now you're producing 7 and 5. So they're asking, what is the opportunity cost of the 5th D? So to increase this by 1, what was your opportunity cost, guys? How much of coconuts or C did you give up? Not last class. 3, right? So you gave up these 3 units of coconuts. So your opportunity cost is 3. Fine. Opportunity cost of 50. To produce 1 more donut, your opportunity cost was 3 coconuts. Yeah? 11 done. Okay. We'll see if we can finish the MCQs before my current course. Okay. Well, which of the following calls for economic activity that meets present needs without hindering the future needs of the society? What is this? What is that? Where you try to satisfy your present needs without harming the future. It's a little bit of general knowledge also, not very economics. Little bit of this is coming. There's a connection. We study this a little in unit number 12 also. It's called sustainable development, right? So what is sustainable development? Okay, sustainable development is where you develop, right? You what? You let's say grow without harming the present generation, without harming the future generation. Now, for example, let's say Sri Lanka, if you want, you can cut down all the trees and build hotels and you can grow. But is that sustainable? No, because in the future generation, they're not going to have proper rain and trees and all of that problem. Yeah. So 12 is 4. 11 was 2. Okay. Right. So then we'll go into 13. Assume that land can be used either for producing corn or producing beef. The opportunity cost of converting an acre from producing corn to raising cattle for beef is equal to which of the following? So you have two, right? So you have two options. You have corn, you have beef, right? So for beef, you're raising cattle. So the opportunity of converting 1 acre from the corn production. So you had, let's say this was the thing, right? So let's say you were using half and half, right? So now you're shifting more for the beef production. Sorry, okay. For the converting 1 acre from corn. So now corn is decreasing now. So corn is decreasing. Now you have more beef. So what is the opportunity cost here? The amount of beef produced, the profits created by the extra beef production, the amount by which corn production decreases, the market value of the extra beef, the market value of the extra corn. What do you think, guys? So when you're increasing the production of beef, you have to forego the production of corn. No, corn production goes down. The answer there is 3, guys. And now some of you have told me 5. Remember, guys, in one point, right? We say opportunity cost is not a financial concept. So maybe if you have an answer that talks about the amount of units, that talks about that rather than the money aspect, that is a better answer. But in case an answer like that is not there, you can do that. Yeah, the real concept. Exactly. Okay, so just to re-explain this, guys. So they are saying there is a plot of land, right? So they are producing corn and producing beef. So for beef, they're having these cattle. Okay. So the opportunity cost of converting 1 acre. So let's say this has 6 acres, right? Earlier, 3 acres was for corn, 3 acres was for beef, right? So now 1 acre of it, they are giving to produce beef. So now corn is only 2, beef is 4 acres. So when you give 1 acre to the production of beef, what is your opportunity cost? What are you losing? What are you giving up? What are you giving up there? So giving up is the amount of corn which production, the amount by which corn production decreases. That is your opportunity cost. Right? So let's say because you converted this, you are not able to produce, let's say 1,000 kilograms of corn. So that is the amount of your opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is the 1,000 kilograms of corn that you are not able to produce. Fine. Step 13, 3. Okay. Right. Then we move on to 14. Okay, this is an easy one. On the diagram of a production possibility curve, opportunity cost is represented by, come on, easy one. The slope of the PPC, a point inside the PPC, a ray through the PPC, a point on the vertical axis, a point on the horizontal axis. Opportunity cost is represented by what? Opportunity cost represented by the slope of the PPC, you know. So if the slope is a straight line, then it's constant opportunity cost. If the slope is bowed outward, it's increasing opportunity cost. If the slope is bowed inward like this, decreasing opportunity cost. So the slope of the PPC, or you can even call this the gradient, right? Maybe if they have this thing, you can also call this the gradient, right? Represents opportunity cost. Shape, no? So 13 is 3, 14 is 1. Done. Then we'll go to 15. Okay. Okay. Which the following is necessary for a well-functioning capitalist economy, but not in a command economy. Kind of, I have discussed this a little bit in the past paper also. What do you think, guys? What do you need for the well-functioning of a capitalist economy? Capitalist means all private sector owned, but not in a command economy. Command economy is where you have government. What do you want? for a well-functioning. We did this in a past paper. If you all were there and beyond the classroom, if you all were listening, it's property rights, no? Remember that whole story about property rights? Yes. Yeah. So you need protection of property rights. What is property rights again? Property rights is the right that you have to, use your whatever thing or use it or sell it or produce something out of it. Is that right? Remember, we said now, what is a capitalist economy? A capitalist economy is where everything is privately owned. Guys, for this explanation, guys, I will upload the beyond the classroom recordings also. In one of those questions, I talk about it, right? I talk about it in detail. I explain the whole story about property rights. So I'm not going to take too much time to explain that, right? So I'll upload the recording. Please watch that. Fast track people and everyone. Please, please, please make sure that you come for, yes, remember my whole farmer example? Exactly, right? So make sure that you come for beyond the classroom. Yeah. Capitalist and market are not really the same. There's a technical difference, but kind of the same. Yeah. Not exactly the same. Okay, a monopoly is where you have one firm in the market. Now, for example, Sri Lanka Railway Department, monopoly, right? Sri Lanka Electricity Board, monopoly. They are the only ones providing electricity. That's what is a monopoly. Again, we study in chapter number 4. Okay, positive externalities, we study in chapter number 8. Okay, so what? So, which of the following is necessary for a well-functioning capitalist economy, but not in a command economy, is your protection of property rights. Guys, I'm not going to take time to explain this. The explanation is available on that recording. I will upload that as soon as possible. But whenever there is current, I try to do my classes, so it's very hard for me to get things uploaded, but I'll soon upload. Okay. Okay. 16. The main function of prices in a market economy is to do what? Generate more profits to entrepreneurs, guide households to choose investment opportunities, ration limited resources in the economy, determine elasticity of products, improve the distribution of income. What is the three functions? You have the signaling slash informative. You have the incentive function. Then you have the allocative, or in other words, the rationing function. So those three are the important functions. So which one answer of this is talking about one of these? What is the function of price? Generate more profits? No, guys, that's not the function of price, right? Guide household choose investment opportunities, again, not really the function. Now, maybe somewhat of a function, but you have a better answer. Remember, you select the most appropriate answer, right? So the third one, yeah, ration limited resources in the economy. Remember rationing function. Remember, in my theory class, I would have explained now the World Cup ticket story. Remember, in a stadium, cricket World Cup. Yeah. Why is the cricket World Cup, let's say, that has 2,000, let's say, okay, 20,000 seats, right? In the same match, same team players, which is Sri Lanka, India in the cricket World Cup final. So why is that 20,000 seats? Why is per seat the cost high in the World Cup? Because the demand is high, no? So how can you ration? How can you allocate 20,000 seats when 50,000 people want to come and watch the match? You increase the price. That's how you allocate it, right? That's what rationing is. No, rationing means allocating, no, right? You have only 20,000 seats in the stadium, but 100,000 people want to watch it. Yeah. So if you want to allocate, if you want to ration that 20,000 seats, you increase the price of the ticket. Then the amount that want to watch it will decrease. People say, okay, too expensive, I will watch it in the TV, right? So then until you match the demand and the supply, you will increase the price. So that's one function, price, rationing limited resources. Okay, and then again, diamond story, right? So determine elasticity, that's not a function of price. Improve distribution income, not a function of price. 16 is 3. That's also again an easy one. Okay. Okay, so then we come to 17. The diagram below shows the production possibility curve of an economy. The opportunity cost of moving from point A to point B is what? You're moving from point A to point B. 20 units of cloth, 0, 10 units of wood, half unit of cloth per 1 unit of wood, 30 units of cloth, and 20 units of wood. What's the opportunity cost here? Opportunity cost means what you need to give up. What do you all think? You're moving from a point inside to a point outside. Yes, maybe there is a past paper here or there. What's the opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is zero, right? You're not giving up anything, right? When you're going from A to B, you're increasing the production of food also, you're increasing the production of cloth also. Is there an opportunity cost? Are you giving up anything? No, you're not giving up anything. You're increasing the production of both. So opportunity cost is exactly when unemployed resources are being used. Remember, when you have unemployed resources and when you use them, is there an opportunity cost? No. Yeah. So opportunity cost there is zero. Question number 7. It's zero because now what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is when you increase the production of one thing, how much of the other thing you have to give up to. Now, if you go from, let's say, this point to this point, then maybe you have to give up something. But think when you're going from A to B, are you giving up anything? No, no. Are you giving up food? No. Are you giving up cloth? No. So increasing the production of food also, you increase the production of cloth also. So both are increased. So is there an opportunity cost? No. Yeah. No. See. Okay. Remember the conditions where 3 situations where opportunity cost is zero also. One situation is when there is unemployment. This is an unemployment situation. You're a point inside the PPC. There's unemployed resource. Now when you're going through point B, there is no opportunity cost. Exactly. Done. Okay. This is also kind of a vast paper. I put this because a lot of people got it confused. Okay. One of the difference between a free market economy and a centrally planned economy is that in the former, what? Some resources are privately owned, some resources are state-owned. Resources are only scarce in a free market economy. Resources are privately owned and allocated by market forces. Most resources used to produce capital goods. Resources allocated by the market forces and therefore no longer scarce. So what is the difference between a market and a plan? Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Others answers? One. Some resources are privately owned, some resources are state-owned. Wrong. Read the question. See, right? I put this because of that only, right? I put this because I wanted to confuse you all. See, one of the differences between a free market economy and a centrally planned economy is that in the former means the before one, right? That in the former means this is the former one, right? Now, in case they say in the latter, then they're talking about a centrally planned. So in the former, right? That means in a market economy, are resources privately owned and state-owned? No, no. It's only privately owned. So you can't say in the former. Now, if case this was not there, one of the difference between this and this is some resources are privately owned, fine. But look at the wording here. Is that in the former, you can't say some resources are privately owned and some resources state owned. That's wrong. Because that is a mixed economy. Yeah. So that's wrong. Then resources are only scarce in a free market economy, nothing like that. No, guys. Every economy it's scarce. Okay. Resources are privately owned and allocated by market. That is correct. In the former, meaning in a market economy, resources are privately owned, allocated by market force. That's the difference between this and this, no? Because in a free market economy, it's like this. In a centrally planned, it's the opposite. So in the former, most resources used to produce capital goods. No. In the former, resources allocated by market forces. That is correct. And therefore, no longer scarce. That part is wrong. Understood. So we ended up with answer number 3. Step. Yes. Got that wrong? Yes, finally. Guys, one is wrong because of this word former, guys. Yeah. One of the difference between a free market economy and a central planned economy is that in the former. So your answers are talking about in the former. In the former means like this is English, right? Remember, if they say in the latter, means they're talking about the second one. Yeah. So if they say in the former, they're talking about a free market economy. So can you say that in a free market economy, some resources are privately owned and some resources are state owned? No, doesn't work that way, right? In the former, all resources are private. This is a past paper, guys. This is not something I made. I put it because a lot of people got confused. It's a nice point to learn because people don't see that. Yeah. Yes, can someone send answers Because I'll put the stat to everyone, guys. If you're just sending me a question, just sending, if you're just sending an answer for a thing, send it just to me. But if you're sending an answer for someone else, send it to everyone. Can someone send the answer for 15, 16, and 17? 15, 16, 17. Okay, step, fine. Guys, are we okay? Okay, someone wants 12 also. Guys, you put in the chat box, someone will reply. Okay. Okay. Right, so 18 is 3. Yes, 19. Okay. Last two questions. Okay, still people left with all correct? Are there still people with all correct? Yes, be genuine to yourself, right? Don't try to fool me. Is there anyone yet still there with all 18 correct? No. No one? Lost it. I saw one person earlier. No. Go on. Okay, right. So there is no 20 there. Nice. Because I was also thinking what to give, but okay. In a planned economy, the question of for whom to produce is determined primarily by how? Planned economy, whom to produce. Yes, great. The state of resources for income payments in competitive markets, the distribution of production to members of the community based on social customs, government distributing goods and services to low-income earners, government centrally setting prices and wages as a part of the economic plan, the bargaining process between employers and employees. What happens? This is a nice question, right? Okay, I'll explain this story. Yes, whom to produce, right? Whom to produce means what? Whom to produce means who gets the goods, right? Okay, so who gets the goods depends on what, guys. What did I tell you yesterday? Hold on. Okay, sorry guys, power cut. Yes, can you hear me now, right? Yes. Yo, don't start drawing on the screen. Can you hear me? Okay. Right. Okay. I'll soon finish because my battery is not that great, so I'll soon finish the two questions and then I'll do the part 2 at around 9:30. Okay. So this whom to produce, guys, depends on what? Depends on your income, right? So in a centrally planned economy, right? In a planned economic system, right? In a planned economic system, how does this work, guys? In a planned economic system, what is government's main motive? Government's main motive is to make sure that everything happens fairly, right? There is equity. Yeah. Right. So that is government's main motive. So how does the government make sure that there is social equity there? What does the government do? Right. So government tries to make sure, right, everyone gets a fair income and the prices in the market, right? That in the prices in the market are fair. So if they make sure everyone gets a fair income, let's say everyone gets 100,000 each, right? If they can make sure that happens, then everyone will get access to the same amount of goods and services, right? Then there is equality, no? Understood? Now, government to make sure equality, guys, they don't go from house to house and give everyone here, this is your loaf, this is your loaf of bread, this is your loaf of bread. No. Government makes sure they set the price of the bread at a proper amount and they make sure that everyone gets an equal income. So then everyone has equal access to the same amount of goods and services. That is how they make sure there is equality, guys, in a planned economic system. So then if that is the case, what is the answer, guys? How does a planned economy answer the for whom to produce question? Yeah. Exactly. The fourth one, right? The government sets the prices and the wages. So they plan according to that way. They make sure, right, the essential goods prices are low. They make sure that they try to minimize the income disparity. Yeah. So they do things like that. And when they do that, they make sure there is equality. So 19 is 4. Okay. Second one, yes, social customs, right? Now, for example, social customs is like the traditions, guys. That is like so community based on social, it's like a traditional economy, guys. These Vedas and people, yeah. So maybe the eldest person only gets the goods first, then only the child gets the goods. Those kind of things. That doesn't happen in a command economy, guys, right? So You don't give it based on this. Third one, distributing goods to and say low income earners. Now, come on now, if you look at a planned economy, guys, does the government only give money to the low, do they only give the goods to the low income earners? No, right? You can't say that they only give the income to the low income earners. So that there is also wrong. Yeah. So bargaining process, where is that? Not there. Where is it? The bargaining process between employers and employees. That is like the demand and supply kind of, right? So between employer and not really demand and supply. Again, not really connected to this case. Okay. Are you all okay with 19 shape? That the answer is 4. Okay. Is the price elasticity is also negative? Price elastic coefficient is always negative for normal goods. Okay, right. So then we'll go to the last question. Now I'm a little happy that there is no 20 or 20. Okay. So assuming economy producing private goods and public goods. Okay. When the economy is operating on its production possibility frontier and increasing the production of public goods, easy one. What will happen? The economy is producing private goods and public goods, right? So let's say they're producing here, and then they're going to increase the production of public goods. So they're going from this point to this point. So then private goods decrease, public goods increase. What happens? Have no effect on the supply of the private goods, increase the opportunity cost of private goods, increase the total output because private goods are non-rival, mean a reduction in the production of private goods, shift the production possibility inward. So what happens, guys, if you allocate more resources to public goods? Answer is number 4, guys. Yeah, a reduction in the production of private goods. This one, not this, increase in opportunity cost of not private goods, guys. If you increase public goods, there will be an increase in the opportunity cost of public goods, not private goods. You're increasing public goods, right? So the opportunity cost of producing public goods only will increase, not private goods. Yeah, that is why 2 is wrong. You can't say increase the opportunity of private goods. No, it's public goods. Yeah, so 20th is 4. So until that, just mark your answers, see how much do you all get, and keep it with you. Yeah, so 20th is 4, 19th is confusing. 19th, this guy. So whom to produce, guys, is a simple thing, right? Whom to produce, remember, government makes sure, always remember, government wants to make sure there is equality. So how do they maintain that equality? By doing what? By making sure that they set the prices at a fair price and they set the wages. So if everyone is getting the essential goods and all of the goods and they are earning the same income, then there is equality, right? That is what happens in the 19th one. Okay, right. So that's about the thing. Okay, guys, anyone 20 out of 20? No one? Guys, do this, right? If you got 20 out of 20, say 20. Okay, there's 120 out of 20. Wow, nice. Okay. Can you send me a picture of your answer on WhatsApp? 20? No? Okay. 19 out of 20. Say 19, guys. Don't say me, don't say anything. Just say 19. 19 or 19 out of 20 something. 19 out of 20. If you put it before, send it again. Okay, I have 2 19s. Anyone else? 19. Just don't raise your hand, send a thing on your chat box. Yeah? 19. Okay, so I'm going with 3. 18. Say 18 on the chat box. 18, 18, 18, 18 out of 20. 1, 2. Guys, I'm doing this to see where, just to see where you all stand. Huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Anyone else? 18, 18 out of 20. Say 18 on the chat box. Okay, 5. 17. So many 17s. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Anyone else? 17? Okay, 12, 16 out of 20. Okay, 17, there is 1. 13, 16. 16 out of 20. Say 16 on the chat box so I can get a count. No? Okay, so I only have 1 person. Okay, 2 people. Really, two? Okay, that's the counter here. Okay, 15 and less. Okay, I'll not count. I think there might be a lot of 15s. Nice. Okay, so guys, I think my battery will not last for me to do the second part. So I'll stop class from here. My current probably, guys, how long is the power cut? 1 hour 20 or 1 hour 40? For the part 2, it will only go for around 40 minutes. It will not take that long. Is 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 40 minutes, guys? It went at around 750, yeah? 140? Okay, so 7 went at around 750. So by around 9:30, we should be able to. So we can have a class from 9:30 to 10:30. Shall we do that? From 9:30 10:30, shall we discuss part 2? So part 1 is done. If you have not done part 2, guys, do it and come. Yeah, do it and come. We'll discuss the part 2 questions. All right. And this recording probably by tomorrow, I'll look into it and I'll upload. Business studies and accounting, I went to Dylan, sir. Part 2, yes, do all 3 questions and come. Okay, so far good job. The person who got 20 or 20, if you got 20 or 20, send me a picture. I'll look into it and I'll see what I get. Okay, right. So that's it. We only have the part 2 questions left. And then on Saturday morning, we have the doubt clearing session. And then unit 1 is done. That's week 1 of the fast track. And that's what most of you all are joining for a trial. If you are joining further, you all can pay the monthly fee and continue the 6-month program. Yes, if you look into part 2 or part 2 at around 9:30, I'll inform on the group as well. So see you all at 9:30. See you guys. For the person who got 20 and 20, so send me a picture though, right? At least with your answers or something. Okay. So see you at 9:30. See you guys. Bye.